guys, Kyle the Death Note Editor here, bringing you my review for Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia, Chapter 138. I'm sorry this one's late, guys. I was dealing with some stuff yesterday, so when the chapter dropped, I couldn't do the review. But anyway, let's get into it. So I guess the first thing to note about this chapter is we definitely get a lot more insight into Overload as a character, and I don't know if, like, honestly, it's one of those things where I don't know if we can call him a lot more caring, but he's a lot. This chapter is really good at humanizing him a lot more. Like, even though all the bullshit he has, even though all the bullshit he has done, and we claim he's an evil piece of shit for, there's still like a human center at it, or human, or in a human caring as well. And a human person who does care about those around him in a certain strange way, like his, because if we look at it, because in the middle, for instance, one of those instances in the middle of the chapter, we see him, I guess visiting the, I think it's the dawn of the whole Yakuza operation in general, like not just the 8 precepts, but I think the entire group as a whole, who is basically who looks like he's ill, or sick in bed, and or on his deathbed maybe. Or maybe even on his deathbed, maybe, because he was sick in bed, and he was hooked up to wires, and he was hooked up to what looked like a life support system. So it looks like he does have a genuine respect, and he has a genuine respect for basically those who deserve it, and of course no one deserves more respect than the Dawn. Am I right? Like, the Yakuza as a whole, doesn't matter who it is, the leader is always the one who has respect, of course, and who has respect, and who ends up having respect in the end. And I feel that in the end it shows that he does have respect for pretty much, that Overlord does have respect for pretty much his old boss. Like, I think I think Overload's I think Overload might, with the fact that we get introduced to Overload's boss in this chapter, it makes me think that Overlord is serving, I guess, sort of as an interim leader, or his boss's replacement or something. Like, he is sick, and like I said, he is on his death. The former boss is on his deathbed, so I think I think Overlord took over as a way to prepare for the future in a way. But yeah. And another thing is Eddie. Like, okay, the last chapter, a couple chapters ago, it was definitely shown. It was definitely shown in vivid detail, like almost how, not how, I guess, how evil or corrupted Overload's plan is. How corrupted Overload is by pretty much using Eddie in order to make that, or make that in order to make that in order to make that in order to make that quirk drug. But I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that was Horikoshi's way of showing how perception is everything, and even though the heroes themselves perceive Overload as doing evil, dirty things in the way that panel is drawn, I think it's a different scenario altogether. Like, I think maybe to a certain degree, maybe he does care about Eri, but it's maybe Overlord doesn't like to care, of course, about Eddie, but he is still doing, there is, of course, a reason as to why there's still a genuine reason as to why the girl is afraid, and I think he's just afraid of those experiments to her dad. I don't know if that's still her dad at this point or not. I think it is, but it does show at the core of everything he's doing to Eddie. He does seem to still have either a genuine care, or still pretty much a use for her. I want to assume at this point it's a little bit of both, maybe, but I want to lean towards he does genuinely care about her. um. Also, also at the in the beginning of the chapter, when that also bound precept had busted through the door, I suddenly got also when that muscle bound precept just busted through the door, I suddenly got flashbacks of watching Batman the animated series, and every time I think it was Bane would appear on screen. Like, yeah, that guy's a whole. He just had a whole Bane vibe to him that I was just eating up. Like, holy shit. It's Bane. It's Bane. The eight precept version of Bane. Like, yeah. That's how I reacted to it. Um, Another thing is when the guy does bust through the door and sends like all these cops flying, we see of course a quick scene of Izuku saving an officer, and I know that wouldn't mean much, but I think it is to showcase that yes, Izuku is definitely on the level of maybe not necessarily of All Might, but I want to say at this point that there's been all these numbers and percentages that Izuku has learned in order to control one for all. The last time it was five. I mean, first it was five, then it was I think 10, and now I forget if there was one after that as well. But from the way he's controlling it, I want to say it's somewhere around the 40 or 50 mark. I'd say he's in which he's done to control one for all. But then again, we haven't really seen him use it in a fight yet. But that is my assumption considering how he just jumped into the air without even breaking his legs, even if he does have those protectors, even if he does have those stabilizers on him. I think it is still safe to assume he has in control of it, like at least half of one for all's power at his disposal now. I think is my theory about it. Um, we also get another thing we also get into about Overload is how much he hates heroes, and it's it's Overload's Overload's particular mindset is interesting because he seems to run his whole organization like he runs a. I know I'm getting off track about the hero bit, but hear me out. Oh my, uh, Overload seems to run his whole organization also like a bit of a cult leader almost because he he recognizes strength and he has respect for anyone with power. But the way he runs it, he runs his organization. He says he considers heroes defiled, and anyone that joins him, he has them wear a mask. I assume because he probably thinks the heroes are defiled, and anyone who wears a mask and serves under him is considered pure, and like that almost sounds like the mindset of a cult leader almost like anyone mine and only mine and my beliefs are the only thing you need to listen to. Like yeah, I think yeah, like this whole eight precept stuff and Overload as a character, he really comes across as a cult leader. Like I said, I think he does hold and respect and respect for of course those with power, but we have to remember at the core he still is a villain, so I don't think he's above using people in order to complete his plan, even if it means like you said the eight precepts to him are pawns, and which of course who all of his underlings are pawns, so he I think he respects them, but he's not afraid to use them in order to achieve his goals, I think. Um, and we and at the end of the chapter, we get introduced to what I assume are the eight precepts, or AKA the cleansing salvo, I think, as they're called at the end of the chapter. And um, it's actually funny. I'm not sure how many people have read. I'm not sure how many people have even read the whole. There's an old comic strip out there called. There's an old group of comic strips out there called Spy versus Spy about these two, I guess, but these two bird creatures, I guess, or something. Like one has a black suit on, one has a white suit on, and that guy with the top hat, he looked like one of those characters. Like I was kind of laughing like all of them look like badasses. Of course, all of them are badasses, I'm sure. But that one character, he looked like a fucking he looked like one of the main characters out of that comic strip, and I was giggling a little at that one. I was giggling a little at that one, but yeah. So yeah, guys, a great chapter this week. Like I said, again, main focus again was of course on Overload, and I really liked how Horikoshi was in fact was doing a lot of focus on Overload because I like it when he does focus on the villains a bit because it does kind of make it does kind of create a little tension and deciding who should we trust, who really is the bad guy or any of them really bad. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, or follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Knight of signing off. Later, guys.